can leave you all waiting any longer. Okay, so thank you, Jasmine will be doing the technical for us. Thank you all for joining us. And yeah, let's frame this conversation with the next slide. Please, Jasmine. Right, so we're talking about including all kids. George W. Bush famously talked about no child left behind. And while the fact that he said it has partially tainted that phrase, I think that's really what we are actually all talking about. It's a good example that everybody has good points. And we're very privileged today to share the experiences of 3 teams that take quite a different perspective, quite a different reason why they're in this inclusion state. The examples that they're sharing with us cover a broad range of what inclusion is all about. So if the next slide, please. So why are we even bothered about talking about inclusion? Well, you know, the buzz phrase these days is diversity, equity, inclusion, but it's more than about being politically correct. It's more than about being a human right to have inclusion. One of our panelists, who unfortunately definitely couldn't make it today, sent her apologies and a very clear idea of what inclusion means to her, which is to state that inclusion matters not only because it is a right, but because we are all better off when we welcome difference. And what we have learned from listening to all the organizations that you work for and your stories and your transition to scale is that if you are inclusive, if you do strive to be equitable in the distribution of resources, and if you are diverse in the way in which you collect, gather, and share different perspectives, you are actually building a more sustainable, scalable future for the people you're working for and for the idea that you're promoting. So now to the panel. We have with us representatives from a project in Tajikistan, HealthProm, who came into disability almost by chance through an approach to inclusion of children into the community care. Then we also have a representative for Hussein from Ubongo, who is, you know, they look at how to make their technology and their materials much more inclusive. And that's another very different perspective. And then we will also have a story of an organization actually set up deliberately to create inclusion for people with disability. So it's quite a broad range of ideas and experiences for us to share, and we hope that you will be able to then contribute from that the thoughts about how this, how what you've heard today and how your own experiences touch on this issue about no child being left behind. So over to Jonathan to kick us off. Thank you very much. Jonathan, you're on mute. Sorry.
Here I am. Hello. Nice to be with you all. And I can't see the list of all participants. Is Nazira here? Not yet.
Unfortunately, not yet.
Okay. Well, I'll carry on, and just to say hello and introduce myself and Dr. Nazira. Dr. Nazira is a medical doctor in Tajikistan, and she works with children and families through various inclusion projects. And I'm Jonathan Watkins. I'm a UK-based social worker from an NGO called Health Prom, and Nazira and I work in partnership with NGOs and government in Tajikistan. And we'd like to tell you about how our work in Tajikistan has helped to include children living with disabilities in early childhood activities and opportunities with other children and families. So we've entitled our presentation Out of the Shadows because so many children with disabilities, well, not just in Tajikistan, but many places, are hidden away. So we'll introduce you to a 2-year-old little girl called Feroza and her mother, Medina. I just have to say they are a fictitious couple, a fictitious family, but they're an amalgam of so many characteristics of the ones that we know, and they illustrate inclusion. But first, and the next slide is about the main challenges for inclusion in Tajikistan. Next slide, please. So child inclusion has been a journey with these 3 main elements and challenges. So as a legacy from Soviet times, Tajikistan used the closed institutional care of children, separate from their families, as their main response to families in crisis, closed institutional care. So our challenge was to introduce an open and outreaching community support service for families and children together. So the second challenge was to introduce a model of care that we called safer care and development, and that has inclusion at its heart, in addition to the prevailing medical model. So the prevailing medical model still exists, but a social model has now been introduced, and I'll talk a bit more about that in the discussion below. And third, we face the challenge of the social and patriarchal barriers to inclusion of women and children that existed in state administrations and the community. So let's now turn to Feroza and Medina's journey of inclusion on the next slide, please. So this is a picture of one of our lovely families, and Feroza, a 2-year-old girl who's not yet walking or feeding herself. She's very frightened of strangers. And Medina is a single mother because her husband went to Russia to work and never returned. Very high levels of migrant work in Tajikistan. And her husband's family rejected both Medina and Feroza, and they have few means of support. They came to our Family and Child Support Service on recommendation of the Child Rights Department, the state Child Rights Department, after Medina told them she couldn't manage to care for Feroza anymore. So at the new Family and Child Support Centres, which we had set up to replace the old baby homes, the old institutions, Medina and Feroza worked with a key worker to make a care plan. And this care plan was structured and monitored using case management, and we collected data for evaluation. We provided physical and other therapies that helped Feroza to catch up with her developmental milestones of being able to walk and talk in particular. And group play and social activities helped Feroza engage with other children and adults. We used an adapted version of, in fact, the Scottish government's model for child development that defines the essential elements for good development as being safe, healthy, achieving, respected, responsible, and included. So this model of care and development replaces and supplements the prevailing medical model. And it's a model where inclusion is part of a whole series of characteristics that need to work together for good development. And we can discuss that later. So, and for her part, Medina, Feroza's mother, received counseling and group support from parents and advice on accommodation and income. And she also worked with a key worker on understanding her social network, identifying her strengths and the ways that her strengths could be built upon. Let's turn to the next slide, which allows us to reflect on Feroza and Medina's journey. So sitting down with Medina, we mapped out her contacts, and that helped us identify her strengths that are the starting place for her inclusion. And these shared net mapping sessions guided the best ways to strengthen the family's social inclusion with new connections and activities. This, we found, is a powerful approach because Medina led the process and took ownership over her inclusion. And Medina, with our support, reviewed her net map over time to guide how her inclusion progressed. We instigated case management supports, and that supported inclusion by providing a framework to ensure that the therapies are delivered and progress is monitored and evaluated. We used tools to measure Feroza's development and to observe the interactions between Medina and Feroza. Both Medina and Feroza, appropriately to her age, took part in the process of producing the data about their progress to inclusion and evaluating the data. This is a really important point that I want to make. And this led to shared learning and supported change because the data was owned. It wasn't data that was just sent somewhere else. It circled back into the family themselves. So how did we know Feroza became more included? We saw her play with other children and she caught up with her developmental milestones. How did we know that Medina became more included? She was able to gain employment because she gained confidence and Feroza became less dependent on her and had new skills. So the next slide, I'll be very brief about, that just shows an example of what net mapping looks like. So we chart the different contacts that exist and draw lines that explain the connections. And it's a really useful tool that we can come back to. As you see, there are different complexities of net mapping as time goes by. So the next slide, the final slide, is what we learned. So, but it's not rocket science. So as long as children and parents lead the journey of inclusion, and family and child support services provide support for the journey. And this involves clarity about the ownership of the journey and the changing patterns of power and responsibility. So we learned that empowerment with women and advocacy with the state administrations changes the social and patriarchal barriers to inclusion. We learned that measurement and monitoring provides data that, when evaluated, provides the learning to guide inclusion. Feroza and Medina take part in collecting all the data and its evaluation and learning for application. And we learned that inclusion comes from sharing information. I've got to confess that that's a quote from Penny. Inclusion comes from sharing information. So for children with a disability, inclusion goes hand in hand with being safe and healthy, growing in skills and achievements, and becoming more respected and responsible. And the journey for Medina and Feroza involved in acquiring new skills for development, as well as empowerment through ownership that led to them gaining more control over their lives and the ability to demand fulfillment of their rights. So that's the end of the presentation. And given the time limit, I'd really welcome questions to enlarge on some of the issues. For example, the way net mapping works and how parents and children can be empowered through involvement in the monitoring and evaluation and learning processes. So thanks for listening. That's me.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, Narazira struggled to join, and Kate, our lead panelist on questioning, also was unable to join us because of time differences, etc. So there are all sorts of barriers to inclusion that we have to overcome.
Yeah.
Got time to take, if anybody would like to ask Jonathan any questions, brief questions about his presentation, please raise your hand. I'm going to call on my other panelists, Hussein and Navmani, if they have a comment they would like to make. We'll then go on to the next presentation, and at the end, we'll have an open plenary across everybody. So save up your questions. Yes, Hussein, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jonathan, for the nice presentation. I think what the good thing which I really appreciate involving the real scenario of the story from the family, and maybe based on your I mean the thing which you learn from the research and from the participant that you are. What are the maybe the thing to do in the challenge which the family you show as an example experience? Because most of the time what I found even in the area where we work, most of the time you find the mothers, especially single mothers, are the ones who get the barrier or the task of parental care, specifically for the children with a disability. So what resolve all such kind of issues?
Okay, I unfortunately, Hussein, you broke up a little bit, but I've got the gist of your question and your comment, and it really is a big issue that being a single parent makes you very marginalized. And I'm really pleased to see, hi Nazira.
Hi, sorry to be here.
Okay.
No problem.
We're just picking up a few questions after the presentation, but so really don't worry, it's been fine. But I'm sorry you're sorry you couldn't be with us. But yeah, Hussein was just asking about the conditions for single parents, and just briefly, in Tajikistan, the family structures make it very difficult for single mothers to be empowered after they have, for whatever reason, been separated from their husband, because the husband's family has control over all the assets. That's right, isn't it, Nazira? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very here family very traditional. If she separated, she hardly expected by her previous family, for her mom's family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in same time, her husband's family rejected her. It's very difficult situation for women here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think what this story very amply illustrates is looking at inclusion from a systemic point of view. You also have to address the individual differences of the people within that system, and that story amply is illustrated. Navamani, do you have a comment for this team?
Yes, Penny. I really appreciate the case study and the way they presented the health worker as well as the families work together, which is similar to our model, and that works very well because they are able to solve the issues or whatever coming. So here the power is equal. The families and the service giver are both in equal power to solve this is how the service delivery model would be. So I appreciate the way that it works, and I also would like to learn, maybe if the time permits, how the way the mapping done. So that is one of the things we would like to learn, if you can explain if the time permits.
Okay, so
You
thanks.
have 1.5 minutes, John.
Okay, all right. Well, net mapping. I'm going to Nazira. I'm sorry. I'm going to pass this over to you for a very, very short description of net mapping in less than 2 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's a very good tool that we are using for inclusion as well for our project holistically, and net mapping. Net mapping very helpful to understand who helped to this family. We can see strengths of this person that we are working with. And also net mapping helps us to see how we can help this person. Usually we do net mapping. Did you show them this net mapping that we did
Yeah, we
already?
showed. Yeah, it
You
showed
can see very, very well how a person getting help. From individual to individual, you can see, for example, first one, what person help, what from which area he getting help from, family or from regional, from government or from some international level. You can see that some people getting help from all these levels, but some people they're not getting any help, very few helps. And especially we could see it in feeling it feeling what difference between getting help women and men. Usually men's net mapping was very poor like this, and women like this. Women getting help a lot from home, from relatives, from government, from international level. But men usually they're getting less help, maybe because their personality. Yeah, it was very helpful in this case with Madina's case also. It helped us to see in which level she got help and in which level we can help her for getting help, for supporting with others. Yeah, it was very helpful. We're using this net map a lot during
Thank you.
our project.
Thanks very much, guys. There's another question in there also about tools, and maybe we'll have more time at the end. If not, we'll definitely get the questions answered either in the plenary or directly through connections. So, moving from that specific story of that family and how it fits into the structure, let's move over now to Ubongo's presentation, where you're sharing a lot more detail about materials that you have developed and why you have developed them. Thank you, Hussein. Please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes, my name is Hussein. I work at Ubongo as a disability and inclusion manager or specialist. So basically here at Ubongo, we are a determined organization and we're based in Pan-Africanism, that we create content which reflects the real needs of society. So can you go to the next slide, please? So as we know that Ubongo is in an international organization and it basically started in Tanzania in 2015. So our goal basically is to create a content and teach kids all over Africa through fun and localized learning material. But again, so currently Ubongo will reach almost 24 million households and for the African countries. So within 2 shows, we have Ubongo Kids and the Kill and Me. So for Kill and Me, that's the show basically focused for 3 to 6 years old, and the Ubongo Kids, the show focused for age 7 to 14 years. And for that show, Kill and Me and Ubongo Kid, both of them, we air out through television, radio, social media, including SMS, WhatsApp, and YouTube, and more channels. So those are the area basically we use as a platform for us to deliver what we produce and what we make for the kids and for them to learn all part of the world, specifically in Pan-Africanism aspect. Can you go next slide? So as we know that at Ubongo, our content, how we make, as a determined process, there are various steps we follow. First, the first one, what we conduct curriculum mapping, and basically here we consult the school textbook to identify priority topics and the gaps and the where we can do. And but again, another step what we are doing is consult education stakeholders. And basically here we are doing some roundtable events. So this platform allow us to stay on up to date with topical educational issues. So the teachers here are involved, the parent, the caregiver, because those are our primary audience. So we created the things based on themselves and what they need. At Ubongo, basically, we follow or we believe in human-centered design. So that's mean that with kids, parents, teachers, religious leaders, elders, community leaders, and whoever else play party in education, to educate a child, we involved them in creating the content. So the human-centered design, for us, we feel very good because we produce a content based on the need and the requirement in the society. And for us, we see it's a way of including them. So if we want to produce the content maybe based on the deaf community or neurodiversity community, we have to include them in from the beginning to the end. So we involve them during conducting the curriculum mapping, involve them in co-creation, involving them in user testing, in designing and all stuff. So that's the human-centered designing, allow us to make the show more fun, the show more alive, and to detect what they are in what we produce. Next slide, please. Yeah, based on the issues of inclusion and diversity, at Ubongo, we started to introduce some characters, or we can say diversity in characters. For example, we have characters with visual impairment, we have characters with physical disability, albinism, and deafness. All of them, we're trying to put them in order to reflect or to see, to create a picture for these people with different needs to observe themselves in what we produce. So, and on top of that, we include some equality or equity between women and men, because both of us, we are equal in our community, and we play party in each and everything. So even in our characters, we try to give them the role equally between men and the woman, in order to assure that the society get the message what we need and to educate them. So that the area we really focus, even giving them the percentage of speaking out, because some of the society, they believe that women usually they don't speak out. But for us, we need to reduce such kind of mindset to the society. That's why we priority the issue of equality between men and the women. Next slide. So how Ubongo diversity, equity, and inclusion implemented to our content? First of all, as I said, that we have two shows which currently air out, Ubongo Kids, and Akil and Me. But currently, we are making new show, and very soon it will be introduced. We call News on Namia, and this show basically will be focused on age 6 to age 9, and the show will focus on literacy and the neurodiversity. Probably we are going to speak out more about autism and the ADHD. How do they learn? How you can live with them? How you can support? How the society and other people can know, should support to know about these issues. So on top of that, at Ubongo, what we produce is we can say education diversity. And in education diversity means that we train, or we try to teach kids in different ways. We try to teach kids about social and emotional skills. We try to teach kids about numeracy skills. We try to teach about literacy and stuff like that, because some of the research what we found, those are the main issues which hinder some of the kids, particularly in African countries, about the issue of literacy, numeracy, and the social emotional skills. So for us, we create in a fun way, so that to create attention and also to create easy for the kid to understand it. But again, for Ubongo, we believe in terms of accessibility. And for us, accessibility we define in different way, not only in tangible way, but again, we have different ways of accessing our content through social media, through video, through audio, and stuff like that. But again, we are trying to include the production of content in different languages, including sign language. And currently we have some content from Kenyan Sign Language, or KSL. So all of these initiatives, what we believe that all people, they are equal and they need to get access of what you produce. So that's the inclusion in what you apply. And our aim is to increase, as we know that the sign language is not universal. So we believe by time goes on, we need to produce more content in different sign language based on the needs and the requirement. But again, multilingualism is one among our approach, which we thought that is very useful. Most of the people, they could learn it very friendly through their mother tongue. And we produce currently almost more than 10 languages, and we plan to produce more than 20 plus languages like English, Swahili, Luo, Hausa, and other languages, so that we need our message to be delivered as it is and not to create some kind of ambiguity or barriers for people to learn about that. But again, another, as I said before, that we believe in gender equality. And on top of, on issues of gender, for us, we believe that people should know that men and the woman are the same in terms of providing things in the community, their views, our ideas, how we think and stuff like that. So some of the society, they have such kind of mindset that there is gender balance, I mean, inequality between men and the women. So we try to do in our level-based in a funny way to reduce such kind of inequality in the society. Next slide. So here there are some few videos which you produce in Kenyan Sign Language, and for people to see themselves. And what we are doing, we try with them, and they really like it. And most of the feedback that most of the society, especially the deafness in each country where we work, they really request having the content based on their sign language. And that's what we are working currently in our organization, to make sure that we produce the content in different sign language to make sure that the theme of inclusion and the diversity is accessible to at Ubongo. So thank you so much. Maybe if you have any question and a point of clarification, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much, Hussein. So there's a richness of material there and of the concept of inclusion to ensure no child is left behind. So Navmani, do you have a comment for Hussein?
Thank you, Hussein, for sharing this your experience. It's really wonderful having the perspective of a person who is from the mainstream community, thinking about inclusion of persons with disability as well as general community, because organizations are the people working with disability and person with disability, talking about inclusion and the general community. So that itself an inclusion and the change. I really appreciate the presentation and your work. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Nazira, Jonathan, is there something you would like to comment on?
If I may, Nazira, do you want to say anything, or shall I? Okay, I just
No,
want.
we should.
Well, I thought it was really interesting, the message that reaching out to all children is about inclusion, and that so your message is, but your material reaches out to all children. I thought that was really interesting, and I like the concept of human-centered design, which I thought was really important. Yeah, one small question, I guess, is that I see that you're producing materials for numerous languages and numerous cultures, and I wondered if you revise the content as well as doing the translation. So, for example, if you're adapting, do you adapt for cultures with different religions or cultures with different other community characteristics? Or do you keep the same material?
So Ayat has a question too. Let's take that one and you can answer both of them. Go ahead, Ayat.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Hussein, for like an amazing presentation. Regarding to the curriculum mapping that you already added in your presentation, I was curious if you have any plan to integrate or like and to let's say develop capacity building for inclusion and all of these material specifically for the teachers or the personal in educational field. Because this is the thing that we're already thinking about here in Jordan, to integrate social emotional literacy and inclusion concept and to build the capacity building plan for the teachers. So I was wondering if you have something related to these things. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me start to attempt the question of Jonathan and then Ayat. In terms of the culture, when we adopt, I mean, during the creation, that's why we are trying most of the time to consult the users or our audience. That's why we follow the human-centered design. So when we create the content, we test it, what we are doing, we do co-creation. Not only the internal, but again, we involve people from different areas during the creation process. But again, we are going to test them in different area and different culture. So for them, they give us advice and they give us feedback. Is it suitable for them? And if not, where we can correct and stuff like that. So those are the things most of the time we will take precaution so that we don't interfere in a culture of a person, but also we don't ignore and we have to respect all the culture of that area. So the feedback and the comment, what we got from the people, that's why we try to include a lot, I mean, a long list of involvement process. But again, I hope that is clear, Jonathan. Yeah, but again, in terms of, I mean, the question of on capacity building. So already we started to do some kind of teacher training and basically how they can use this. You know, some of the area, and this is not this is new concept to them, basically for the teachers. They might not know, or they might not aware how they can incorporate them in teaching daily. I mean, in teaching daily activities. So for us, we try to train them and giving them more assistance. And currently we are trying to develop some what we call teacher guiding, and they will be helpful to them even though we are not there, but the guide will show how they can use our content in different areas. For example, if a teacher teaching maybe a certain topic on literacy, so and the content we have, so we show them how they can use the content on teaching that topic. So those are the strategies we have. So, but our plan is to increase the richness of these capacity buildings. So now maybe we are reaching to the few countries, but we plan to reach in many countries based on our ability in terms of financial and the other stuff.
Thank you very much, Hussein, for your presentation and your responses. When you get the slide deck, everybody, and Jasmine will share it with you, you will see that I have added the website links for each of the organizations that are presenting today. There are other questions that are appearing in the chat, and we will, after the next presentation, look at those questions and take a broader view across all three presentations. So thank you for pointing that out, Jasmine. So the intention of these webinars is not just to hear what other people are doing, but also to link up with each other. So if you are not able to get a full answer to the question that you're raising today, we do encourage you to reach out to the organizations that are presenting to have other chats beyond this. So over to our last presentation, to Navmani, and I did promise I would say your name. Anyway, I'll move right along. I failed on that one. I'm nervous in front of an audience. And to the work that Amar Sangam are doing at scale in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Penny. Yeah, my name is Navamani Venkatachalapati. I'm working as a lead in the implementation of a program, Enabling Inclusion Program in Amar, Seva, Sangam, an organization working with children and adults with disability for the past 4 decades, and it's located in South India. Next slide. Next slide, yeah. I'm going to explain about one of our program, Enabling Inclusion Program, and the model, which is a community-based early intervention and child rehab program that promotes the inclusion of children with disabilities. So in this program, we do developmental and functional screening of all children in the community. From there, we identify children with developmental delays and disabilities. Our rehab professionals at the community, they reach the families and explain the child's condition, and upon their consent, the further assessments are done. With the parents, with the parents and the families, we plan the participatory goals. In our program, we follow International Classification of Functioning Disability and Health Framework. So through this framework, we are able to take goals, participatory goals. In our program, we promote access of regular services like regular health, education, social service. It may be a government service or it may be a public service. So we encourage the families to access the regular services. So during accessing the regular services, if the families or the child have any difficulties, we do sensitization program among the various stakeholders. And also we have formed parents advocacy group among the parents. So that is to support the parents, support each other, as well as they do collective advocacy for the inclusion of their children with disabilities. Some of the things they were able to work against are some of the stereotyped beliefs and stigma about disabilities. They were able to work on. A few examples I can say. The parents who have never taken their children into the community gatherings or social gatherings, after our intervention, they started taking their children into the community. Those who have never talked about their children with disabilities into the community are not introducing them. Now they openly talk about their children with disabilities, their strengths and their difficulties. Another one thing, use of assistive devices. Using assistive devices like hearing aid or the wheelchair was considered as more stigma. But after this intervention, they started understanding and started using these assistive devices more, which shows that it is not only improving the children's function, but also inclusion of the children with disabilities. So in our program, we evaluate all the children's progress. It is a functional progress and the participatory progress. And the next, and we set the next goals. All these activities, from the screening, from the assessment, from the evaluation, we use standard scales, which is nationally or internationally validated scales for the evaluation. Our program, we are using an Enabling Inclusion app, which is developed in-house for monitoring of this program. So in this app, we can monitor 3 levels. One is program monitoring. If I say the program monitoring, we have a check-in, check-out, and also GPRS. So we know whether it is an individual child therapy program or it is a mass program. We know how much the programs are carried out. We are able to notice how many participants, location, and the time. And also staff location. It's a GPRS enabled, and how many staff work and which work they are involved and where they are located. All we are able to monitor. And the children monitoring with the data of the assessments and intervention and the evaluation, we know how the children are progressing. That dashboard gives the overall view of the program. Next one. Next slide. So why we have started this Enabling Inclusion program? So there are about 30.38 million persons with disability in India. There are about 7.8 million children with disabilities. 70% of them living in rural areas, and 80% of the families are daily wage earners, and more than 30% of them living in below poverty line. 66% of the children with disabilities do not get access to therapeutic services, and 1/4 of the children have never had an educational experience. We know in developing countries, persons with disabilities do experience worse educational and labor market. and 90% of the built-in environment are inaccessible due to the lack of access to services and information leads to exclusion of person with disability. What WHO says about early intervention, if children with developmental delays are not provided with appropriate early intervention, their difficulties can lead to lifetime consequences, increased poverty, and profound exclusion. So our motto is to promote inclusion through the support services. Next slide. So our impact, this program started in 2014 and our impact till the 2023. So with this program, since it has a very good monitoring system of enabling inclusion app, we are able to monitor and evaluate the impact. So we have reached more than 211,000 children screened in our program, and we have reached close to 8,000 children with disabilities. And we have trained more than 23,000 parents and more than 10,000 health workers to do the developmental screening. There are about 168,000 people we have sensitized about disability, and more than 2,061 children have received assistive devices. With respect to the individual children progress, there are about 81% of them shows mobility function, and some 86 shows learning and communication and the improved activities and participation. So these are our output. When comparing our impact, the school enrollment have improved, which was 69% to 84%, 69% of children with disabilities to 84% after our intervention. Comparing the cost of this model, this community-based model, some of the center-based model, it is 4 times lower than the center-based model. And 73% of the families have shown increased empowerment, and 74% of the families have showed decreased strain in caring the children with disabilities. Yeah, next slide. So the Amar Seva Sangam, all the programs are the inclusive development. We can categorize our services into health, education, livelihood, social, and empowerment. In all our program, we follow, all our program are inclusive or promoting, empowering towards inclusion. For example, the medical testing unit, which is a therapy services, anyone can take the services. It is not specifically for a person with disability. Anyone, even the non-disabled with short-term or long-term therapeutic need can access. And all our education and the vocational training centers are inclusive. So our motto is wherever possible, the model is to show inclusion or the activities to empower towards inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Navmani. So we've covered a whole range of different approaches to creating an inclusive model of work and identified a number of different challenges that each of these groups have found a way of overcoming. So in the last section of this webinar, we do actually throw the floor open to any wider range of discussion. But before I move, while you're thinking about what you would like to put forward for discussion amongst all of us, what stories you would like to share about your own organization, I will ask Nazira and Hussein to comment. Do you have any comments on that last presentation about Amar Seva Sangam and their model?
Yeah, thank you so much, Navaman, and that's good presentation. And actually, what I would like to appreciate is the angle which you targeted the area of intervention, and that's it's a very challenge for most of the areas, or most of the parents, specifically for the running cost of reaching these services. But that's the thing which maybe I put on you, and you have to think how that service could be accessible in different parts of the world, not only in India, because what I see, most of the parents are really suffered to get the money for sufficient, including issues of assessment, diagnostic, and the issues of intervention and the making follow-up with the progress of the study. So those are the things I think you touch an angle which I wish to know more about that and to use that tool on my country.
Me also, I can see that everywhere is same problem. These parents with disabled children very vulnerable, and like you said, very hard to get make money because they're most time spending for rehabilitation of child. They're spending time with child, and in my country, I can see that a lot of men leaving their family when they have disabled children. Woman doesn't have support from family, from husband. That's why it's very hard to see, and I can see that everywhere is same problem. And it's very good webinar that we can learn from each other. We can fit some gap in our project. When you see other project, we can learn a lot. Thank you for organizing this seminar.
So Navmani, we're not asking you to solve the world's funding problems, but what reflections do you have on this issue that they have both?
Yeah, we too, initially we started with the center-based program where the problem was again the cost of the center-based program. So that's why we have adopted the community-based program where we train the local people to do the therapeutic services supported by the rehab professionals. And also in our all the interventions, we train the parents and the caregivers to do the therapy services for the children. And our workers, all the health workers and the rehab professionals are only facilitating whether the families are able to follow the therapeutic services. So in that way, the cost, we were able to reduce the cost of the services because we need to reach more people, then the cost of the service has to be less. And also with respect to this using the app, we are able to connect with the staff monitoring become more easier. And with the app, we are able to show to our funders also how much we are able to impact, because compared to the other method of documentation and monitoring, this is more very open, and anywhere from monitoring is become more easy. So we are able to able to get more funders because we are able to give show result through the good monitoring system. Thank you. Have I answered your question?
Yep, thank you indeed. Okay, so there's been a range of issues that have already come out of the questions and comments that have been made. And so what you bring up there is one of an earlier comment around monitoring and evaluation and inclusion in those methods that Catherine brought up earlier. So I don't know if anybody would like to talk to that point about how you include the target groups, how you include people in their own evaluation. The other topic that has come up that was brought up by Smita was around including fathers and male members of the family in these activities. So I open that up for anybody to comment on. And if anybody else would like to talk about the struggle with funding these issues, please feel free to do that, or raise your hand to bring up any other issue that you would like to bring up. Yes,
I would like to talk about monitoring. In my experience, I did very interesting monitoring about inclusion with children. I talk with them, with small group of children, about their participation in community. Do they have friends? Do they how often who loves them? With whom they go to somewhere? It was very interesting experience in my past doing monitoring with children. Yeah.
And we have a comment in the chat there by Ankash, where you bring up this issue of trust. Would you like to ask that question yourself? Because I think Nazira was actually showing an example of building trust through conversation and dialogue. Yes, go ahead with your point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was just wondering if you'd be willing to elaborate a little bit more, perhaps with an anecdote about what the trust building process actually looks like, especially when we're dealing with the context of social stigma around disabilities or even gender inequality that was discussed in the first presentation.
Who would like to respond to that?
Yeah, can I?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, to reach the community, yeah, trust building is very essential. So we have the community workers. Those are the local people whom we have selected, and they give more of connecting and perspectives of the family. So that one is, so it is not like there is not much difference between the service provider or the service user. So they all from the same community, though share the same values. It is just we are the organization as a facilitator, we work. So and also while working, we also, even if we have one change maker, then we take their example, we take their help, and also we take people who are other people working with the children in the community. For example, there is another program, integrated child development scheme. It is a program for all children. So we take the support of that program staff to support or to reach the families, to guide the family. So like that way, we develop support system within the community. It may be a leader or it may be anyone who is a common point for the families.
Yeah.
Hussein, yeah,
yes.
over to you. Go ahead.
I've seen one of the question on the chat, how we are trying to involve mother and father in the process of these involvement of mother and father in parental care and stuff like that. For example, when we are doing some research on creating our new show, News and Namia, we found a big challenge, the involvement of father in parental care, specifically for the kids with disability or neurodivergent per se. So what our aim now, based on that scenario, what we found, we are going to address that issue in our caregiver segment, because on the show we have animation and we have the caregiver segment where we have parents, we have many people within neurodiversity themselves, we have specialists in various areas like speech, occupation, and other professionals who are working with these disability, to share why it is important for them to participate as father and mother on the process of raising these kids with a disability or special needs, in order for them to be successful. And they're having some clear picture on comparison. So the families which are having full support of father and mother, and there's some families which didn't have support of father or having one parental care, there is a big difference and there is big challenge in terms of improvement. So all of these challenges we kind of creating in a funny way, but again in a polite way, to deliver the message to the society that even fathers, they require to participate, and in which ways. So we're going to show them how they can participate, although they are busy and stuff like that, but we give them strategies and the way forward how to do it.
So the building of trust seems to be something that goes through a journey itself, Jonathan. So we've heard from our colleagues here about bringing in different perspective, different expertise into the conversation. You wanted to add to this. Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Penny. Just to say that, I mean, picking up on what everybody said, like the building of trust, it takes time and it involves building relationships. It's very linked with the building of confidence, which comes as a part of the measurement and the monitoring and evaluation, which feeds back into the activities that we do, and in a way shows success and leads to empowerment. So I'm linking empowerment, confidence, measurement and evaluation and learning together with a sort of a strengthening of the capacity both within the families and around the families, that leads to a stronger relationship of trust and competence. So I wanted to just throw that out into the pot.
Thank you. There's a comment in the chat there about having any links to resources and other conversations, and linking us back to the question about involving men in the process. I think there are a number of resources that have already been developed on the platform team. And so when the link goes to the slides, we'll certainly add in some other links to some other reading and some other things that people have already written on this area. But I'd like to ask our panel of presenters here to comment specifically now on that issue about the role of men, and invite anybody from the floor who would like to add on to that to stick your hand up, and I'll bring you into that conversation. So Navmani, would you like to start us off? Any comments that Amar, Seva, Sangam have about the role of men in this process?
Yeah, actually, we had an interesting experience in this, because with respect to caring, childhood caring also, it's mostly the women's responsibility, and when bringing up the children with disabilities, it goes more into women's responsibility. But in our program, while setting the goals and things, we usually involve all family members. So it's not only the mother primary caregiver, but also the mother, father, or the other family members, siblings also we involve. So there is a gradual progress in the way the parents are involved. I don't see a big change of role involvement of fathers, but at least where we started now, because in the parents advocacy group, more men coming in, and also in the taking the roles and responsibilities shared between the men and women, we see the progressive to our group. Thank you.
And this theme of sharing also comes out in Ayat's comment. Would you like to expand on that, how you've shared it now the other way, bringing people in, Ayat? And then I'll ask Nazira to talk about her experiences.
Thanks a lot. Actually, one of our ECD intervention, it was like a Reach Up and Learn, which was like a home visiting program. So we're hiring only female home visitor to conduct all of these things, while we already noticed that we have like some father or single father that they already have like an issue and struggling with like some of their babies, but unfortunately because of a stigma, they don't ask like a female support or female home visitor to conduct such activities with their kids. That's why we were thinking of having a male, let's say, facilitator or home visitor to support male caregivers, because it was like an stereotyping that like anything related to the ECD, inclusion, or even education for the early age, it's like for female. Either it's like a female facilitator or even a female like a mother or parents in general. That's why we start like changing the idea of like make the ECD for female in general, and to hire like a male also facilitator to conduct such these activities and to be part of intervention. Also in one of our let's say venue in the camp, also we hired like male facilitator to conduct activities with the group of the children, and also conduct activities and parenting session for like both mother and father or the mixed caregivers. In this, let's say, this action, it was like really helpful to make like a male engagement or family engagement, because everyone at that time felt that ECD or like a caring of babies, it's like a responsibility for everyone in the family members. It's not like for a mother only. So if we need to just like support, let's say, our intervention to have a male engagement, we need to just like also hiring male, let's say, task force. Thank you.
So what you're talking about there is redefining people's perceptions of their roles and their position, which is very similar, in fact, Hussein, to what you're doing in Ubongo with the material, the characters that you're bringing in, characters to give them a prominent role. Nazira, I know you've struggled with bringing men into the conversation. How have you done that? Thank you, Ayat. You're on mute. Sorry, Nazira.
Yeah, from my experience, it was in the beginning I struggle even for when I inviting them from 10 just talk about their problem, which kind of support they're getting from whom. I had a problem. For example, if I invite 10 men, they didn't come. Even I organized this kind of discussion on. They told, "Oh, we are very busy. We are making money. We're going to work." Then I invite them to Sunday, Saturday. From 10, only four of them came. It was beginning, and it was, of course, it was difficult, but it was good experience for me, and it was very helpful for our future planning of our project and involvement to our project. During a conversation, I found that men that don't want to talk about their problem, they don't want to share their problem. For my question, from who getting support, who help you, we do not need any support. But it was just, just they won't show how they're, powerful, they do not need anyone. But then when we become, when we talk more, spend more time together, I found they're all vulnerable, and of course, they need support, psychological support. Then we decided to organize male of parenting program. A male of parenting program, it's for 12 weeks. It like psychological help. Usually all men with same problems, they're coming together, spend time together, they're sharing their difficulties, their experience. And facilitator was a man from our team, and it was very helpful. And then we could involve more men to our project, to our, to our goal to help to their children to be together, and to be more included to the community. It helps even NetMap. When I did second time NetMap, after some time, I could see how they after male parenting, they change their view and they get more support from each other. I think it was very good idea to involve men for this male parenting project. Yeah, one way to involve them.
Thank you. So that's some very hard and practical work. I think I really do feel I need to bring in the male members of our panel now to comment on both the gender issue, but also the other point that Maria Santos brought up in the chat around stigma. So yes, Jonathan, you've unmuted first, so you can go first.
Okay, I didn't know you could see that, Penny. Well, the thought that's going around in my mind is that involving men helps promote gender equality and all the objectives under the Sustainable Development Goal number 5. And because I think one of the big ironies of SDG 5 that it isn't overwhelmingly about empowering women, but it's about gender equality and involving men to achieve that. That's the thought I want to share.
Hussein.
Sorry for interrupting. I think men more vulnerable than women, because women, they're chatting a lot, they're talking about their problems. They had very big network, a lot of people involved to their problem. But men, they're just talking with very, very close people, sometimes just for 2 or 3 people. That's why I think men need support more than women. And involving the project and power movement, it's very important for inclusion project, I think.
Hussein, what comment do you have on male vulnerability and on stigma?
Thank you, Penny. Rosaline from Tiny Totos, Kenya. We work with daycare managers who take care of children 6 months all the way to 6 years. And from our interaction with daycare managers who take care of these children, some of the lessons we have learned and could share is valuing the participation of fathers and other male family members, and recognizing that every male in a child's life has strengths, and these strengths play a major role in the functioning of the family. So one of the things that we are currently strategizing on doing is personally inviting fathers and male family members to take part in all aspects of service provision. So first focusing on providing information to fathers, then working on relationship building. And what that might look like is we've realized that while fathers of children without disabilities spend more time out of the home, such as going to church, cleaning, grocery shopping, whatnot, fathers of children who have disabilities tend to interact with their children in the home. And often this is because a father finds routine activities less disruptive to the child and family, and the child being abled differently might make leaving the home difficult, and the father also may be uncomfortable with public scrutiny of his highly visible child, and therefore some fathers may be more comfortable with activities that they can do at home within the home routine. And rarely do fathers follow activities as we suggest or suggested by educators. So when we recommend activities, we find out what the father's particular present activities and preferences are, and we build on those. Thank you.
Thank you very much for some good thoughts there. So I would like to bring Hussein in, and then Maria Sumter on your comments on stigma. Go ahead, Hussein.
Yeah, from my side, what I think the stigma on disability most of the time rely on the society and how a person rise in. For example, in some society, having a child with a disability, it's like you have a problem, and a limit can limit you in various areas. And some of the time, or some of the people, or some of the society believe that any child with a disability, the real causative is mother. So they relate that mother is the one who caused having a child with a disability in the family. So such kind of ideas and mindset create men to be behind on taking care of the child with a disability, and to remove such those kind of mindset, it requires a lot of effort and process. And for that reason, we don't need to use force, rather than we have to use the polite way and the fun way to deliver the message that maybe the causative of a child to have a certain kind of disability or challenge does not affiliated with mother or father. That there are various factors may hinder to be in such scenarios. So for us at Ubongo, that's why we try to create various messages in a way that does not show the problem to mother or father, rather than to emphasize the involvement or the participation of both sides, mother and father, or male and female, in raising these kids with disability or special. That's the most of my ideas, what I think can work in our society.
Thank you indeed. So it's about the message and turning the message around into a safe message, which comes back to the theme that people had raised earlier about building trust. Maria Sant, I want to give you the last comment to make before I wrap up this webinar. So would you like to comment, to expand on your thoughts about stigma? You may need to unmute yourself. No, there you go. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. On that note of stigma, I have a true story. I had a relative who had a child who was born with what sustained a birth asphyxia. And that child had lived up to, I think, around 10 years. But this is a child who was always locked in the house and was not taken out, neither to interact with anybody, play with the, like playing and so on. So what the mother did that day, I think she overfed the child, and the child vomited, the child choked, and the child died in the house. So when the father came back, the mother could not say what exactly had happened, but he just suspected, finding that the child was full of vomiters, and the mother was, of course, in shock after realizing what she had done, what was very bad. So when I talk of stigma, you find that when you have such children like that, usually you find that people don't want to take them out. They want people to see them, neither to interact with them. Like I shared with my son, when my son was born, when he was deaf and dumb, I remember we took him to the doctor to examine him. And what the doctor, because I had noticed that there was a problem. So the doctor just said, this child is dumb. I think there's nothing much we can do. So we were so disappointed. Then we were advised to take the child to the school of the deaf and the blind. And that's how he picked up, and he's able to say a word, mom, meaning mother. But if we didn't take care of him, or maybe showed him love, maybe he would be part of those children who are in isolation, maybe stigmatized, because normally what they name them, they will say, that child is deaf, that child is dumb, but that's not how we're supposed to name them. So you find that they have that stigma, and which I feel brings about neglect in such people with disabilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria Sumter. I think that's we've kind of come full circle. We started with the individual story and the story of hope that was shared with us from the work in Tajikistan. And we hear too from your personal story about how the individual work and love and care, and it's a story of hope as well. And I would like to thank all the groups that have shared with us today. The richness of what you're doing to bring inclusion, to bring equity into every child's world has been truly inspirational. So thank you all for sharing your stories, and very grateful for the amount of time that you've put in to sharing this with us. Jasmine will be sharing links, and please use this as an opportunity to connect up with people. And before you leave, we would really be grateful if you could spend a couple of minutes reflecting on the question that's up now, to just let us know what you think you will be doing next, whether it's concerning issues of costing, father inclusion, stigma, whether you have a question that you are going to go away and explore in more detail. We'd love to have this from you before you leave. Thank you all very much indeed, from all the parts of the world that you're sitting in. Take care, and we'll see you soon, we hope. Jasmine, last word to you.
Yeah, and just a quick word that I will share the webinar recording, the slides, and other resources in an email to you all afterwards. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. We're getting thank yous in the chat, but no specific pledges that people are making. Come on, I'm going to push you. Make a pledge. What are you going to do next? Thank you, Jamie. Susan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Santa.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
In this your screening process, that's interesting. Thank you, Lynn. Would like to learn a bit more about your screening process, I think, at this. Training teachers. Yeah. Thank you, Ayat. Anna, you too are thinking about spreading the burden of support to the men. Thank you. Bianca, your comment on inclusion, even in the M&E, was your striking point. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I think we have got comments from everybody that's still with us. So I will say another big thank you, guys. That was really, really very inspirational. And yeah.
Thank you.